Just fucking do it. Subscribe now.
I will just fill you in with the information. RGR Nabisco is a conglomerate in tobacco and food.
Nabisco is a conglomerate of food, okay?
Yes, back in the 80s.
Okay.
They own brands like Oreo, I'm not sure, but Marlboro something.
Yeah.
And of course, these are brands everybody knows. And what makes that deal so attractive is they have three factors: low levels of debt.
What is the deal?
The deal is that the management of RGR Nabisco, especially its CEO, wants to bring this company back to private.
Okay, so they're public right now?
Yes, they are public.
The deal is to go private.
To be private, yes. So they have then more bidders, like investment banks and so on, who can take this thing private.
Okay.
So the different bidder groups are the management itself, then some other bidder groups, and one major bidder group.
To buy Nabisco's shares to go private. Okay.
Which is KKR.
Okay.
And then the magic happened because KKR totally over-leveraged the thing.
Okay.
So, and why it's attractive? Because one, it has low levels of debt. Second, tobacco and food. Everybody needs it. At least tobacco in the 80s and food, of course. I mean, we all have to eat and drink. And you don't have to put in that much capital. So these three factors makes it a very good deal to bring it private and to load it up with debt. And that's the whole case. And since Henry Kravis from KKR more or less invented or renewed the leveraged buyout, meaning what we are told, buying companies with their own money, he couldn't stand that somebody else is using his model to buy out this kind of company that attractive.
What is the advantage of going from public to private other than having control and not having to report 10Ks and
yes,
things like that?
This is the big. That's a big advantage. Yes, and
It's because you don't have to fuck with shareholders.
yes.
Okay.
And you got 1,000 or 10,000 shareholders. I mean, they're gonna have 4 million opinions.
And you can exit 100%.
Yeah, and in today's market, I mean, people, with the placards, marching around, and if you're not 100% green and all this stuff, it's a big benefit. Ideally, or no, ostensibly, that's was the bullshit line that Elon Musk used why he's going to take over Twitter, but that wasn't the real reason. The real reason, because he had a hair up his ass, because they weren't controlling, and he is more conservative than he is liberal. They weren't controlling fake news. The guys that butchered people could send a tweet, but a governor of Arizona couldn't. But running a privately held company is a lot easier than running a publicly held company.
And how did Elon Musk finance the $44 billion?
Well, I mean, he had to sell off Tesla stock, amongst other things. And he had hoped
he sold it, or he gave it to the...
No, it wasn't a share deal. He sold it, if I understood correctly, the Twitter was a 100% cash deal at $44. I think it's $44 a share.
He has several VCs on board, several venture capitalists on board, and some banks also getting some stake.
And even though it was a bad deal, he probably paid 50% more than he should have, but they were lined up to support him.
Yeah. Larry Ellison from Oracle, his text message feed got leaked out with Elon, and he reached out, how much do you need? Like, I can give you $1 billion. In one text, he said, okay, that's fine. One more would be great too. So he gave him another $1 billion over another text line. So we work our lifetimes to get $1 billion, but he got it in a text message because he had an association with someone who was.
Well, that's you rub elbows with poor people, you'll stay poor. You rub elbows with people of means, you're going to make it that much easier for you to accumulate wealth.
Well, absolutely. Okay. So it was cash from stock of Tesla, VCs, and then pretty much that.
And commercial banks, I suppose. It was the stock sell-off, the VCs, and then commercial loan.
Yeah,
Also.
commercial debt.
And do we know the fees? How much fees were involved?
No. in a private, the public to private deal, I mean, the fees aren't announced. Now, somebody will write about them down the road, but it'll be some time. And you can never tell, unless it's a press release when the deal's happening, you know, the information that they get may or may not be accurate.
Okay, you say for big deals we have to do a lot of fees. Normally, what is the rule of thumb?
No, there is no rule
50%?
of thumb. I mean, if the deal is hard, they will charge you as much as they can. If the deal is a slam dunk, you know, you're still going to pay a lot of fees. But if the deal, as they say, has got a lot of hair on it, the fees just continue to go up.
Yeah, Lily from sorry to interrupt, sir.
No.
Lily from JP Morgan, she does those deals, and she says we don't entertain a deal if it's less than 10 million.
Yeah, well, and JP Morgan's not dissimilar to, and Goldman Sachs may be a lot more than 10 million. The last time that I did anything with them was 3 or 4 years ago. But it's been 10 million for 10 years. But now the other big bulge bracket banks have caught up. So that I would guess that Goldman Sachs is now more than 10 million.
Yeah, damn.
And that's just, I mean, and that's 10 million whether they succeed or not.
Yeah.
But I told you, we've had a couple Goldman guys, we had JP Morgan guys here that weren't successful. They just couldn't get used to not having the Superman Goldman Sachs shield and a balance sheet of 150 billion. And they never made a call to anybody. I mean, 99% of their calls are in to them. And if you've done that 10, 20 years, I mean, it's not impossible, but it's very difficult for you to make a transition. It's, you know, it's another ball game. When I left Bear Stearns, you know, and Bear Stearns was a very Jewish firm, even though they said they weren't. I was kind of the token white guy, me non-Jew, not white. You know, it took me a number of phone calls. It didn't take me weeks to get used to. I wasn't, you know, carrying the Bear Stearns battle axe, so to speak. But when I got that hatchet over there, 1977 for my birthday, I just, in the process of leaving Bear Stearns, I still had the battle axe mentality, because the Bear Stearns guys were not the Ivy League guys. These are guys that, you know, got their education in the streets. And so in those days, I mean, I was super, super aggressive. I mean, all you got to do is come a few percentage points towards me, and especially now, because everybody's so fucking weak. I mean, when I forget, somebody asked me yesterday, what's the competition? There isn't any. And remember when they asked Anelli, what's the competition? He thought and thought and thought. And then about 3 or 4 minutes later, he answered it a different way. There is no competition. There isn't. You know, guys that have been out in the trenches. A good friend of mine named Gary Shimano, who was my boss twice in my financial career. He's my age, and he says it's unbelievable that there's no grit in the industry anymore. There's no grit, and there's no grit in the sellers. If there's no grit in the guys that are financially representing you, what do you expect the sellers are going to be like? No grit, and that makes it easier. And that's why so many deals get done. And I'm going to read you 2 or 3 emails when we come back. $1, just basing it, roughly speaking, rule of thumb, because they keep asking me. The deals, I compare them to Hungary. Bad comparison. One's a communist country, one's not. But I mean, this guy bought for $1, you know, looks like $20 to $30 million worth of assets in a hospital for $1. And so I hope he got working capital. He doesn't say that in the email. I'm sure I'll, you know, when I respond back, do your job, could you give me some of the details? And he will. But we get these emails, not daily, but we certainly get them weekly. And we got another email from one of our mentees, $1 million. If it's the same deal Now she bought a hospital for $1 million, but their money, not her money. Black Beauty. If it's the same hospital that she's been working on in Texas the last several months. And her source of leads, she's got a TV show now in Dallas. Black Beauty has. You know, and they talk about deals. She's got several things going for her other than she's really a good-looking black gal, good-looking gal. Now she's got a TV show. And she said, this is about a year and a half ago. I said, yeah, I mean, that's a conduit of business. Make sure that every interview you do, you're in business, you're rolling up healthcare. You'll look at anything, but your primary bent or focus is on healthcare, and it's worked out terrific for her. You know, I had the first TV show, financial TV show in 1972-3, but I got cut, and I didn't say any bad words in those days. And you know, in fact, it was quite ironic, but it was too over the top because the big banks and even the second and third tier banks didn't like what I had to say because they were commission driven. You buy 100 shares of stock, they got a commission. You bought 1 million shares of stock, they got a commission. And mine was to group the assets and get a fee off the top. Of course, that's what we do now, but they didn't like that. But I remember that. One of the few times I was nervous going on television. I still remember the blue pinstripe suit I wore. I could close my eyes and see there. Old-fashioned cameras, not like the modern cameras, you know, old-fashioned cameras. Too many fucking lights on me. And that was for PBS, Public Broadcasting. Okay, so you're going to do Nabisco, right?
Yes.
It's a great case. Great case. A lot of fees. If you're on the fee end of that deal, I mean, not every single guy on the deal, but every single partner, both in the accounting and law and investment banking, got rich. Forget the deal. And even some of the associates, the bonuses that were paid out, were in the hundreds of thousands of bucks. And I forget, what year was that, Nabisco?
88.
That's right. 88.
88. This time of the year?
Well, a lot of deals are this time of the year because, you know, they're trying to pay for their Christmas trees, etc. Okay, I will see you guys later.
Yes, sir.
Thank you very much.